Here's a book, little Johnny. You need to read this. You need to read that book. Like there's no tomorrow. I'm not talking about tomorrow, I'm talking about today. And today, happy Saturday, I'm actually standing right in front of the Aquarium of the Smokies. Ripley's, believe it or not, owns that aquarium. A lot of people don't associate Ripley's, who of course a lot of people remember from the Believe It or Not books and the series and the TV shows. They actually own and operate 8 different attractions here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is just up the mountain about 5 miles from Pigeon Forge. So if you're ever in the area, yesterday I was actually given a little backstage tour by Ryan, the general manager. I want to give a little shout out to him and say thank you for the awesome tips about Gatlinburg, some of the behind the scenes stuff, not only of the aquarium, but of Gatlinburg, some of which I'm going to try to share with you now, and I'm probably going to botch up. Disclaimer alert, that person is honking at me, I am not an expert on Gatlinburg history, but I, however, have people that watch my travels, and I would love to share some interesting facts and figures with me that people have shared with me. So vicariously, I'm going to tell you about some of the wonderful things here off of the main touristy drag of Gatlinburg. Traffic light number 5 is right there. Traffic light number 6 is right there. You can actually see posted is the number 6. So if you ever come to Gatlinburg, stop here, go in the aquarium, tell them Adam the Woo sent you, and then after you do that, come over here and check out the cabin of Martha Ogle. It's right there. The oldest cabin in Gatlinburg, and we're talking centuries old, early 1800s. And it's right up there, and I'm going to go up there and show you. We're going to start off this vlog by showing you the cabin right here in Gatlinburg. Hope you're excited. It's my second channel, daily vlog channel. It's the Daily Trolley Stop. The good thing about Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge is they actually have trolleys that run through town, which actually only costs about 50 cents to go quite a distance, so you can actually get some pretty good deals. There aren't a lot of taxis in this town. It's a very laid-back southern town, population of only 4,000. However, there are tens of thousands of people that stay here every season. Gazillions. That is not an accurate assumption of how many rooms there are, but in my mind, I would say there are gazillions of hotels all along that strip. Fantastic roadside attractions, tourist goodness, and all kind of other fun things to do when it comes to tourism. As you know, I love theme parks, I love roadside attractions, I love wacky, weird things that involve touristy objects that I love in my life. However, this vlog is going to be about the area of Gatlinburg, parts of the areas. Gatlinburg's kind of spread out, but I want to show you at least the stuff that I can walk to, that next time you're in Gatlinburg, park your car or take the trolley either from Pigeon Forge or from wherever you're staying, whatever hotel you are, and come check out the historic Ogle cabin. This is the actual cabin from the early 1800s. The first settlers of Gatlinburg were the Ogles, and they built this right along this little stream or a river. I'm going to tell you a lot of things that I'm probably going to get incorrect, so definitely fact check me, do your own research, and please leave some comments down below or go to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, especially Facebook, /TheDailyWoo, and post some articles about the stuff I'm talking about. If I have misinformed you or if I am correct, give me a pat on the back, a high five virally through the internet and social networks, and tell me what you think of these vlogs. So let's go check out the Ogle cabin. Look at this. Now you're probably wondering, what year exactly was this built? Well, before I started filming, I walked over here to the door and I saw what I thought was an address. Normally on the front of your home or your friend's homes or whoever else's home that you visited, there's normally either on the mailbox or wedged across the door, is an address stamp. However, I do not think that is the address. I think that is the actual year, 1807, that this cabin was built. Right here, 1807. Look at the moss growing across the top of the roof there. Here's a placard that they established in 1970 dedicating this 1807 cabin. I believe the National Historic Registry actually, what is the word when they actually christen something? In 1986, this became a national treasure here in the good old US of A in Gatlinburg. I really like Gatlinburg. I was discussing yesterday with Ryan over at the aquarium about the difference between Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and I was equating it to Walt Disney World and Disneyland. If you've been to Walt Disney World and Disneyland, you know that Walt Disney World is massive. It's very awe-inspiring when you first go, but the more you go to Disneyland, it starts to feel more homey, and actually a lot. Homie the Clown. Every time I say homie, I always think of Homie the Clown. So basically the difference between Walt Disney World and Disneyland, they're both fantastic places, just like Pigeon Forge is fantastic, but it's massive, it's spread out, where Gatlinburg is more like a Disneyland to Disney World comparison. Gatlinburg is a very small area. You can park, you can walk down the strip, you can walk to almost everything or take the trolley. It's definitely more of an intimate area. So that's my comparison. If you're wondering what the difference in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge is, very cold out here. By the way, I'm wearing this Elvis shirt, I think, day number 4 in a row I wore this same shirt. I really badly need to do laundry. So laundry is definitely going to be on my mind. However, you'll probably see me wearing this shirt tomorrow because I don't know if I'm going to do laundry today. I'll be going to Dollywood later to check out the lights. Today is the first weekend of Dollywood where they're doing the lights. So I'm going to go check that out. I wanted to show you something else right over here in the form of a tree. Not this tree exactly, but the other tree that you're seeing straight ahead. This is kind of a local, historical landmark. Not officially, but in the hearts and minds of those who've lived in Gatlinburg for their entire lives. I want to show you this tree real quick before we venture up the mountain behind the main tourist strip. So this whole area is going to be renovated into a shopping mall of some sort of an area, a touristy area. And within years from now, I don't know how many years, a few years, this will all be renovated with shops and wonderful things when it involves tourism. So a lot of the locals, the old school people, do not want this tree right here. Look how fantastic that tree is. They do not want that tree removed. In fact, this school right here has actually gone a step ahead and actually put the fence. See how the fence goes around the tree? They actually put the fence where it actually goes around the tree instead of through the tree. So they've kept the tree here so far. And I was told through hearsay that some of the locals are going to have what they call a quote-unquote sit-in the tree, which means if the bulldozers come in, some of the locals, hypothetically, a little birdie told me that maybe some people will be sitting in that tree. Some of the locals are so hardcore, affectionately drawn to that tree that they will be festooning the branches and not letting the bulldozers knock the tree down, which is a very awesome story when you think about it. It's like something out of a movie or something out of a tale of old. Your grandfather would tell you tales, yarns of people that were that dedicated to the history of that town. And stuff like that still exists here in Gatlinburg, which I think is really cool. So now we're going to head up the mountain. It's not really a mountain, it's just kind of a hill. But when you're driving down the main drag are all those Ripley's attractions. There's the Guinness Book of World Records attractions. There's a lot of miniature golf courses, a lot of fudge. I saw a lot of fudge and candy along that main drag. A little mountain mall over there. The World of Illusions is over there. A couple other places I'm going to do main channel videos of, and other vlogs on. The Sky Ride is over there, but we're going to venture off right here at traffic light number 6. So park, take the trolley wherever, take this road at traffic light 6, go look at the tree, go look at the cabin, and then walk this way. And as you're coming up the hill from the cabin, turn right here into the village. This is the back nether regions, if you will, of a little shopping area called the village. One thing about Gatlinburg that's crazy too, and Pigeon Forge, they have tons and tons and tons of pancake breakfast places that people love. There's one place here in the village, right over there, you can see the smoke coming out of that smokestack. There is a line of about 100 people waiting to get their share of pancakes, and it's right over here to the right. If you look down there, you might be able to see some people. Yeah, look, there's the line. Holy cow, that's the back end portion of the line. This whole area here kind of reminds me of World Showcase at Epcot, which is really cool. If you look at some of the old buildings stuff, which is the sock shop there. So we're gonna go up here. Look at this. Look at that little thing right there. All right, let's go up the hill. Sometimes this is probably locked when it's very snowy and icy. However, it's unlocked today. So walk through here, walk up the hill, straight up this. And you can see the leaves changing. It was snowy here last week. Very, very, very snowy. They probably had this closed when it was super snowy. But you can see the leaves changing up there. See the back top areas of the businesses. We are now above the storefronts and the businesses on that main drag of Gatlinburg. So after you visit the cabin, after you visit the tree, walk through the village, walk up this hill, and there is an old, awesome cemetery right here. Look at this. This is one of the oldest cemeteries you will probably ever see in person. So if you're in Gatlinburg, depart from the strip of all the hotels and the parking and the roadside stuff, which is awesome, and get a glimpse of history right here. It's time for your 10 or 15 second moment of quietness, brought to you by me here at the Wy Oak Flats Cemetery. Hope you enjoyed that moment of quietness. I've been trying to do that in a lot of vlogs. I do talk a lot, so I'm trying to incorporate about 20 or 30 seconds into each vlog of just the experience, the ambiance, and the sounds of what I'm witnessing when my mouth is not yammering on annoyingly and rambling. You're probably wondering, why is this called Wy Oak Flats Cemetery when we are in Gatlinburg? Because Wy Oak Flats was actually the original name of Gatlinburg proper before the town changed the name to Gatlinburg. In fact, back in 1830, when the cemetery was erected and dedicated, it was the town, which you see over here, before all these hotels, sky rides, and roadside attractions came in. It was called Wy Oak. And the story goes, hypothetically, do some research on your own. I would actually like to learn a little bit more about this as well. So if you can figure out the facts by looking online, try to figure out what is hearsay and what is truth, I think And what I've been told through a few people, that White Oak changed the name to Gatlinburg because there was a general store owner way back in the day between the changing of the names, and his last name was Gatlin. And he was a very rambunctious, annoying man that no one in town liked. In fact, he was feuding with basically his neighbors and the rest of the town folk. So the town wanted to run him off of the property of White Oak. So they came to kind of either a verbal agreement or probably a written agreement. And he told them, if I leave town, I will never come back. However, you have to legally change the name to Gatlinburg, because my last name is Gatlin. So research that story and tell me if that's true. Would that even work in this day and age? If you were so incredibly annoying that people hated you and they told you, get out of town, and you said, change the name to my last name, do you think they would do that? If you lived in New York City and your last name was Smith, would they change it to Smithville just because you're the most annoying New Yorker? Or if you live in Boston, would they change the name of Boston to Smithville? Who knows? But that's basically how that story originated, and it might be true, and it's up to you to research that fact here in White Oak / Gatlinburg vicariously, because some of you watching this probably have never been here. Some of the locals from here are probably watching this. And like I was saying, I'm not a historian. I'm just going off what people tell me, what I've read online. I love to learn things as well. I'm not trying to pronounce to the people out there that I know everything there is to know about everything. I only know probably about 13% of the facts and figures that I tell you, but there is something I do know. I'm talking about the grave, the memorial marker of Martha J. Ogle, right there. 1827 is when she passed away. And this is actually the grave and the placard and the memorial of the woman whose cabin I first showed you at the end of the vlog. At the beginning of the vlog, this is where she's buried, right here. Of course, some people say she's not buried here. They say it's just a memorial. A lot of the other Ogles are all buried all through this cemetery. So some people are hesitant about saying if she's actually buried here, or if this just is a memorial they built in 1827. So very interesting. A lot of old graves. Very, very cool. A lot of old graves in the Smoky Mountains. Look at this one, it's fallen over. Imagine a cemetery dating back to 1830 of this magnitude that you can just walk out to. You don't need permission, just walk up the hill and check out some of these awesome gravestones, memories of the past, history of the Smoky Mountains and Gatlinburg. I really like this. There's a whole area here dedicated to the Ogles, and you can see they have a massive pillar there, a massive gravestone, and I'm guessing eventually this will be filled with all of the ancestors that are still alive of the Ogles, all right in this area. But I was looking at this here. This is actually really cool. It's a tree stump with this really awesome old school gazebo on top of it. That's so awesome with the sun coming over the horizon. Here, oh, look at this. This is actually cool too. A little woodworking against the side of this tree. Two little chairs and some kind of a spindle. Do not want to prick your finger on that nail. Oh, that would not be good. Woo. Do not want to prick your finger on that nail. But look at all these old graves. A lot of history and a lot of awesome stuff here in the Smoky Mountains. The Great Smoky Mountain Park, National Park, is actually right over the horizon, about a couple miles outside of Gatlinburg. But before it was a national park, speaking of the Smoky Mountains, I want to end this vlog with the grave of a fantastic legend / folk hero that a lot of people in other areas of the country
have no idea about, but his grave is right here. I'm talking about the roaming man of the mountains, Wy Oakley. Look at this. There's his grave, born in 1885. It doesn't have a date stamp of when he passed away, but I think he died around 1950, 1960-ish. Probably incorrect on that, but I think that's around when he died. Wy Oakley, the Roman man of the mountains. He wasn't a Roman like when in Rome, but he was a roaming. But see, here in the South, they don't use G's. R-O-A-M-I-N with no G. So he was just a Roman man of the mountains. A local hero, a folklore hero, if you will. At a very young age, his mother passed away. He was very distraught, and he pretty much dedicated his life to adventuring, to traveling, to roaming through the Smoky Mountains, which gave him the name, the roaming man of the mountains. He always thought the farther and the higher he climbed up into the mountains, the closer to heaven he would get to see his mother, maybe get a glimpse of his mother. He would see the clouds, and he would always think to himself that the white, bushy clouds were part of her clothing that she would wear. She'd always wear white clothing, and he always associated that with the bottom of her dresses, or her skirts, or her pants, or her clothing. So he was always dedicated to his mother, and because of the weariness after she passed away, and him in his time of need, he decided to start traveling and roaming, and he never stopped, and he became basically a writer and a historian and a guide through the Smoky Mountains, which eventually led to and became the Great Smoky Mountains. So Wy Oakley, the Ogle graves, the tree where people are going to be sitting up in the limbs if they tear it down, and the cabin. That's a lot of history that has nothing to do with tourism here in Gatlinburg. So when you come to Gatlinburg for the touristy stuff, which I am all for, definitely make sure you go check out the aquarium, the other Ripley stuff, and a lot of the other awesome things on the main drag. However, take some time for yourself. Take some time for the Smoky Mountains. Come up here, view some of these graves, especially the Wy Oakley grave, which is really awesome, and the memorial over there to Mrs. Ogle. The best things in life are free, and everything that I just showed you in this vlog costs nothing. All it costs is for you to come here and check it out, or you can watch this vlog, which also costs nothing. So basically, you've gotten a free, quote-unquote, free dose of entertainment, if you will. Hopefully, you will entertain. Let's talk about something personal now, things in my life. Originally, today, I was actually going to go to Knoxville to a convention called the Fanboy Convention. However, I'm actually not going to be able to make it over there today. I've actually extended my stay here in Gatlinburg until Thursday. Wednesday, they're doing a chili cook-off here, which I love chili, so I will not be missing the chili cook-off. They're closing the streets down, and they're doing their once-a-year festive tradition of turning on the Christmas lights. So, I will be here until Thursday. Originally, I was going to stay till Monday, but I have been prompted and talked in to staying until Thursday. Also, instead of going all the way to Knoxville, it's about an hour and a half drive from here, spending a lot of money at this convention, and probably, because there's some celebrities there I wanted to meet, I'd probably spend some money for some autographs. And since temptation is not good with me, I've decided to stay away from that. Instead, I'm going to go to Dollywood today. So if you're at Dollywood later, I'll be there at Dollywood tonight. Dollywood is doing their Christmas light turn on today. They festoon the entire area of Dollywood with lights, and I'm excited about seeing that for the Christmas season. Even though it's a ways off till Christmas, today is the first day of quote-unquote Christmas lights at Dollywood, and Dollywood has actually gotten the rights to the claymation figures of the Abominable Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So they're going to have those characters out there. So check me out on Instagram, AdamTheWoo, and Twitter, AdamTheWoo, and Facebook /TheDailyWoo. And you can see some pictures later, hopefully, of some of the Christmas lights from Dollywood, and me posing with Rudolph. That awesome. I love those old Christmas claymation things. All right, that's about it. Please, anything that I got wrong in this vlog or any more info you want to tell me, go to my Facebook page or other social networks, or leave some comments down below. And let's talk about the history of Gatlinburg that does not have anything to do with tourism. Let's talk about the history, the old school goodness, the legends, the folklore, and the free awesomeness that you can see in person here in Gatlinburg. I'll see you guys later. Check down below for my t-shirts. Not an Elvis t-shirt that I've worn 4 days in a row, but my t-shirts at TheDailyWoo.spreadshirt.com. And I'll see you tomorrow, but only if you subscribe. So please, subscribe. Have a great day. Goodbye.